Welcome back to the NRL Punters Weekly Digest, your one-stop shop for everything you need to know leading into this week's NRL matches. It's time to talk about how we fix the Queensland Maroons. But before we do that, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can stay in the loop of all my content. Let's get into it. How do I fix the Queensland Maroons? Well, it revolves around the eligibility rules, which have been a floating topic in the NRL for quite some time. Do we? Don't we change the eligibility rules so international players can also play State of Origin, which is supposedly going to elevate the product of the game, because then we absolutely have the out-and-out biggest stars of our game playing State of Origin. Not that we already didn't, but then we can just add more of those players to the mix. Okay, you want to ask me personally if I'm a fan of it? Not really. And the reason I'm not a fan of it is because I believe I'm a traditionalist. State of Origin is a curtain raiser. It's an audition for the Australian team. So if you want to play for Australia, you've got to play State of Origin. I don't think you get to play State of Origin and then go play for Samoa, Tonga, whoever else, right? I don't think it works like that. However, we could fix the Queensland Maroons' problems by changing around the eligibility rules. Queensland aren't against moving things around, moving pieces, moving human beings around to suit them, to allow them to elevate to a level of success. All right. So this is what I do here. So I change the eligibility rules. I allow international players that are playing for second tier teams or first tier teams. Doesn't matter. You play for England, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, PNG, Fiji, whoever. Doesn't matter. If you played your junior football or your first, senior rugby league in Australia, or you played before a certain age, I don't know exactly how the rules would work, but I do know that I checked out the available talent should the eligibility rules change. And this is what I came up with. So I looked at players that could potentially play if they change the eligibility rules, and who would legitimately come into contention for either New South Wales or Queensland. Now, for New South Wales, I had a look. There are a lot of players potentially eligible, but there's only one that I think would be legitimately up for selection, and that is Addin Fanua-Blake. Now, he just returned from injury last week, but on his day, he's one of the top 10 props in the game, maybe top 5 props in the game. I think he would come into serious contention for New South Wales. From the Queensland perspective, 3 players came into mind. One is Jordan Rapana, whose first junior rugby league game was played for the Tugan Seahawks. He grew up on the Gold Coast, born in New Zealand, came over at a young age, played his junior footy down on the Gold Coast. Viliami Kikau, who's technically played junior... Oh, was it Timo Taumalolo? No. So Viliami Kikau hadn't played any rugby league till he came to Australia. He played with the Cowboys, the junior side there, I think the under-20s. He would come into contention. And then Jason Taumalolo, they've spoken a lot about him being eligible for Origin. He wants to play, probably for the paycheck, let's be honest. It's like, what is it, $30,000 a game or whatever it is, something stupid like that. He played for Townsville Brothers, but I think technically speaking, he played junior rugby league over in New Zealand. So I don't know how that works. But if he was eligible, he was someone else that the Maroons would pick. This is my side with all the best available Queensland talent being fit and ready to go and informed. This is who I'd pick from 1 to 17. At fullback, I'd have Kalen Ponga. On the wings, I would have Xavier Coates and Jordan Rapana. In the centres, now we're very weak in the centres here, but I had to shift some people around. Dane Gagai and Valentine Holmes in the centres. Munster and DC in the halves, obviously. Front row of Josh Papali'i. We're going to see this in the next Origin. Josh Papali'i, Harry Grant, and Christian Welch. Outstanding, first class. That could be an Australian front row, let's be honest. And then in the back row, I've got Felice Kafusi, David Fifita, and Jason Taumalolo. Now, you can't tell me that's not a mouth-watering forward pack that could more than match anything New South Wales has to put together. Absolutely it is. I think it's better than what they put together. On the bench, no AJ Brimson. I love AJ Brimson, but I don't think he's got the versatility that young Reece Walsh has. And if you're good enough, you're old enough. I throw Reece Walsh in there as my utility. In fact, I probably have him there for the next Origin, depending on people's fitness and so forth. Tino Fa'asua-Maliawi, Lindsay Collins, and Viliami Kikau. Now, you tell me that 1-17 isn't matching the New South Wales Blues. I think absolutely they are. The only weakness I see in that side, again, is in the centres. And it's not Gagai. It's more that Val Holmes is not an ordinary centre, a full-time centre. Other than that, I think that's an outstanding team. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you agree with this side? Would you put other players in there? Are there other players that I hadn't considered that you would bring into contention if you were a Maroon selector? And they've got to fit under this kind of very loose kind of like expanded eligibility bracket. But let me know your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video.